What's going on, guys? Today I'm bringing you a brand new video, a little bit different today. We're going to be doing my thoughts on my Hien Soft XL after 1.5 months of maining it. But before we get into the video, guys, I just want to ask that if you aren't subscribed already, could you hit that subscribe button for me? I want to see if I can hit 20 subscribers. So if you could hit that button, I'd really appreciate it. So we're going to go through a little bit of a background before I go into the actual pad itself. So obviously this is a Artisan Hien. This is the soft variant in XL, black obviously. So before this pad I had been using a glorious 3XL mouse pad that I had had for a couple years. You know, I would wash it every month and a half just to maintain a somewhat consistent glide. And towards the end I had to wash it every week to keep that glide consistent. But so that really brings me to my first point here. This pad, the stitching is absolutely amazing. So like my desk, my wrist sits right at the edge here, like when I'm playing, like that. So the stitching not being like very raised is really beneficial. One thing I had to complain about the Glorious pad is that my wrist would rub and the stitching would irritate my wrist the whole time I was playing. So the craftsmanship is amazing. Obviously, after only a month and a half, I mean, if something had gone wrong, obviously I would be complaining about that, but nothing's wrong. The glide is exactly the same as it was out of the box. The glide is pretty good. This is a Viper Mini with the stock skates on it. And then, just for comparison, we have this modded G305 with core pads. Forget that. So the glide is pretty good. Here we have the Ponage Ultra Custom Symmetrical. This is actually modded with the KL 8.0s. And then we have the Superlight with core pads on it. I keep that on there just to keep the feet protected while it's stored. So obviously the glide is really insane on this mouse pad. And that's really what I enjoy about this pad. It really allows for fast flicks. And but you can still get that, you know, nice controlled micro adjustment because it's soft, so you can really dig in and pressure so that you can get that stopping power. The next thing I would say is that allegedly these things last forever. So that means, like, you know, 2 to 3 years if you take good care of it. Which I haven't washed it yet. You can see a little bit of, there's some dead skin right around here from my wrist, but the glide is the exact same as it was out of the box, so I would say that means this pad has high hopes of lasting for a really long time if the glide is exactly the same as it was out of the box. The pad hardness, like I mentioned, it's a soft. I would say that if you want something with a little bit more stopping power, maybe go with the extra soft or a Hayate Atsu, which is supposedly in between the Hien and the Zero, and I actually just got a Zero yesterday. I will be reviewing that sometime in the future after I have a little more experience with the pad. So overall, I really like the glide of the pad. The durability is great. The soft factor is really good because you can dig into the pad to get a little bit more stopping power. But now let's go into the cons of the pad. So I would say that the first con is that the pad is extremely expensive, especially right now, considering that it's out of stock. You're going to have to hit up Mouse Market or try to get it on Amazon. And on Amazon, I think the soft XL Hien is over $100, which is pretty crazy. But considering that I was spending about $35 to $40 every year on a new, like, desk pad, $80 if that's what I had spent on this for a pad that lasts 2 years, really not that not that terrible of an investment, I guess. The other thing that I don't like about this pad is that when you use certain feet, like these are core pads, certain feet on the pad, you can really feel that texture, and it kind of feels like you're trying to glide against sandpaper, which I'm not a huge fan of that. Like that happens with the Superlight as well. Originally I had thought it was because the core pad skates were slightly too small, but then I realized that once I used this on my Zero, it felt smooth. So I realized that some feet, specifically these core pads, you can really feel that texture. So if that's something you're looking for, definitely the Hien is where you want to go. And then the last thing I'd say that doesn't really affect the performance of the pad at all, but it is something that I noticed, and it's gonna have to lead you to clean the pad a little more often, I would say, is this, this little skin ring that I was talking about here from your wrist as you play. Basically, it feels like the pad is sanding off the dead skin from your arm, and it all just collects in the bottom of the pad here, so you're definitely going to probably want to wash that area a little more frequently than maybe the rest of the pad, unless you don't really care about that. I mean, I don't really use this portion of the pad when I'm, aiming, so it doesn't actually affect the glide, but visually it's not the most appealing factor about this pad. But, so overall, the cons don't actually have much to do with the performance. It's more about the availability and the cost of the pad. And then for me, the personal preference of not really feeling that grit in the pad is something that I would like a little bit more. Like in the Zero, you don't feel that grit, but that is the selling point of the Hien for most people that buy it, is you can really feel that movement. But overall, I would say this is an excellent pad. I would recommend it to anyone that likes a hybrid pad. Like if you've tried the MPC 450 and you want to get an upgrade from that, or you've tried maybe the Odin Infinity Hybrid and you want to upgrade from there, I would say this is an exceptional hybrid pad for anyone that wants to try a hybrid pad. I would say that the pros of this pad really outweigh the cons, and if you have the money, I would say this is a worthwhile investment. And that's it for the video. I appreciate everyone that watched, and if you could hit a thumbs up, let me know what you thought in the comments, and like I said, if you wouldn't mind subscribing, I'd really appreciate it. Thanks.